This is TWiT. Did you see the PC sales numbers for last year?
I know. They're
Holy
crazy.
Moly.
Just to be clear about that, I've been tracking this for years, and every year I make a spreadsheet and, I compare year over year. The PC industry hit a high in 2011. It was something like 365.4 million units sold. And it's been on a downward free fall almost ever since. In 2017, 2018, it kind of plateaued around 250, 260, or actually around 260, we'll call it. And then thanks to the pandemic, we've seen some little upticks until this year. 344.3 million. This is the third highest number of PCs sold in a single year in history. And if it wasn't for the component shortage, there's a really good chance this would have been the single best year ever for PC sales. This is... I'm saying this having just come back from the funeral for the PC industry, right? I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, we didn't think it. I mean, we knew it went up because of COVID. That made sense.
Right.
But we didn't think, in fact, that's the conversation we had about Windows 11
Right.
is this is all to jumpstart what will certainly be a laggard year for PC sales.
That's right.
Guess not.
That's right. Although I will say, PC sales did not go great in the fourth quarter, especially for the top two PC makers, Lenovo and HP.
Went well for Apple, though. Went well for Apple.
Yeah, although Apple year over year didn't move their needle at all on market share, interestingly.
No, but they did have, but they didn't move the needle. They had better growth than they've ever had.
That's right,
before.
they did.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. But, and I'll just point out that shortfall happened right as Windows 11 was released. So, I'm not saying it's Windows 11. In fact, I'm very specifically saying it's not Windows 11. But, the question, of course, is the future, and we'll see how that goes. Industry analysts who work for companies like IDC and Gartner are still saying, hey, look, this is not, we're not going to keep going up and up and up. This is not how that works. But, you look at the graph over time and you see kind of a seesaw effect. We could be in for another good year this year. So certainly last year was astonishingly good. And again, you have to qualify it with the component shortage problem, right? And the fourth quarter probably would have been a lot better if it wasn't for those issues. So
Yeah.
Fascinating. That would have been to me the biggest story this week.
Huge. Yeah.
If it wasn't
huge.
for
Well, to what do
Activision
you
Blizzard.
attribute it? I mean, what's going on? I mean,
we're all looking for that answer. I don't know. I mean, obviously the pandemic is ongoing, so thank God for that.
Yeah, but
Cross
you
your
would think
fingers.
that everybody in 2020 bought whatever hardware they needed for the kids to go to school. Maybe you think they've been suffering and then finally said,
Yeah.
I guess it's going
Well,
to continue? Or
Anyone who has kids in school will tell you that those computers are either non-existent or terrible. So
Right.
that continues.
Right.
I think Microsoft has kind of shifted language. I think we have all shifted language. We were working from home for a while. Now we're talking about hybrid work. The phrase "the new normal," which everyone hates as they should, it's terrible. But I think the reality is, unfortunately, of the world is this thing is ongoing. We have this new wave with Omicron. It is going to be more. We don't. The future is uncertain. Apparently, everyone didn't buy a computer who needed it, and I think because a lot of people did buy computers in 2020, and all of a sudden there were no computers to buy. We all raced to get more and more computers out into the world, and other devices. We're just talking about computers here. The component shortage happened. I mean, I think maybe this is a self-fulfilling prophecy of some kind or whatever, but the question is how it continues or whether it continues. If so, for how long, who can say? But
you
I
have
think
to
of it
think
as best tool
it
for the
can't.
job.
You have to think it can't continue. I mean,
You have to think it can't. I mean, the PC is kind of an interesting device because if you asked most people what their impression was of a computer, words like unreliable and those kinds of things would come into play. The truth is computers last for many, many years.
Right.
And as people have shifted from PC, desktop to laptop to mobile devices, especially phones, they don't get used for everything, and that helps them last longer and longer as well. And I think we don't even know what the cycle is anymore. I think that's part of the problem. So it's possible there's an entire new generation of people ready for an upgrade who realize, I can get some stuff done on my phone. Okay, I can get some stuff done on my laptop. How long has it been? 15 months? I think I need a computer.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just need to sit in front of a thing that has a big screen and a big keyboard and actually get work done. And maybe that's all it is. I can't. I have tried, and not because I want to move from the PC, but just because what I do and how I am. I've tried every permutation of other things that can be things that are not what they are. iPads with keyboards and blah blah whatever. And at the end of the day, I need a computer.
A good laptop, right? You're not saying desktop.
I need a computer.
Good laptop.
Well, whatever. I mean, if you're a gamer, we just talked about games. For a lot of those guys, the ultimate device is a desktop computer, and it's a really big, expensive desktop computer. It depends on your needs. There are people who have multiple screens. They analyze data, and they do all kinds of crazy things with that.
Maybe that's what came into play is, as you say, we realize, well, this is going to go on. For people in the information economy, people who have jobs, they had more discretionary income because they weren't spending it on eating out and traveling and all the things.
Sure.
So maybe they said, look, I got an extra couple of grand, and it really would be nice to have a gaming system or maybe a new laptop.
Even a VR system or something.
Or,
whatever.
Yeah, and so maybe that's what's going on is I got some discretionary income.
Yeah. I think there were... Don't you think there were also a class of especially younger people who before the pandemic just had kind of written off PCs?
My phone is all I need.
Right. My niece, both my nieces, they didn't even have a PC and they didn't care. And then suddenly it was like, oh, wait, now we need one because we're doing all this stuff that we didn't do before.
That's right. That's right. Yep. Yeah, I mean, in many ways, for students, PCs were probably like computers were to you and I 30 years ago, where you went to a place, you sat in a room, you clicked away and did whatever you did. You saved it to a disk and you put it in your pocket and you came home with it. And I think the way the world has gone, again, the pandemic is awful, but it has accelerated certain things. And I think this is, as a PC fan, as someone who started this career I'm on now because of the PC, and I hope to ride it out on the PC, it's nice for me to see a renewed appreciation for a device that does a job well. The phone does certain things well. Tablets and e-readers and things like that do certain things well. That's fine. But PCs do certain things well. They happen to be things I care about a lot, but whatever. But I think there are things that people need. They're real productivity value to it. And I think it's great personally that people are really seeing that value now as well. And obviously companies are on their own upgrade cycles. It's possible just that a certain number were doing this in 2020 and then some in 2021 and now 2022 here and oh, no one's back? Okay. Time to buy new computers or whatever it is, I'm sure it's a mix of all that stuff.
Yeah. And of course, M1 Macintoshes, because who wouldn't want a couple of more of those?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we can't really know because we're so unusual. I mean, we buy or get new computers, whether we buy them or loan them every few months. You've got dozens of laptops. So we have no idea what a normal person's life is like.
I'm probably more normal than the two of you, but just saying.
But even you probably get
point.
More computers than most.
No, I have two computers right now.
Well, hold on a second. So we should talk about this. So I don't know if you remember the dates, but I remember you had that Acer laptop. And did you buy that specifically in tune with some
Asus,
Windows?
You mean? The Asus laptop, maybe?
I thought it was an Acer.
Yeah, I never had an Acer.
Asus. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Yeah.
Sorry, Asus.
No, that was like 2017, 2016, around there, I think, right?
And okay, so that would have been Windows 10.
But then it didn't work. It stopped working, and I had to get another computer. So I got the Surface Laptop 3.
What year was that?
2 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago, right?
So that's actually not that big of a time frame between those two.
No,
right? A couple of years.
And then
2, 3 years.
the only other one I have is because you gave it to me. But normally, I just buy a PC when it dies, right? I don't have a budget.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to establish like how long that is. You live on a PC. I mean, that's your living, right?
All right. So I'd say about every 2 to 3 years, I use.
Okay, that's pretty aggressive,
I think 3
honestly.
Usually. Right, 3 is pretty aggressive. Right, it is.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not like you guys in that I don't change my laptops and computers.
I change my laptop just about every month. So,
I know you do.
And that doesn't mean I'm spending the money. I mean, I review them as a living or for a living as well. But
yeah.
I don't know. I've done that for so long. I don't know how long I would hold on to things.
Yeah.
If I had to use
my last
one
desktop,
computer full time.
No, the desktop I had that TWiT bought for me. I had that for
That was
like 8
Dell,
years.
Right? A Dell
Right.
Dell
I had it
PC.
for a Dell Optiplex that I had for 8 years, and the only reason I got rid of it was Windows 7 went out of support, and I'm like, you know what? I really should upgrade this and get a new PC.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was still working. Like, it wasn't bad. It wasn't a problem.
I did go through. I went through a series of Intel NUCs. At least 2 of which had issues, certainly, that triggered upgrades. And, I'd like to buy things that don't work and then buy new ones. For some reason.
It's fun.
Yeah, because I hate myself. But, I don't know. I wish.
Typical
I don't know.
for knowledge worker. And then for a normal, people at home, 7, 8 years is much more typical.
Right. That's nothing weird about that.
No,
right?
I hear from people on the radio show all the time with 10-year-old computers. I mean, it's very common. I mean, and they're enthusiasts enough to listen to a technology radio show, so they're not
That's a good point.
Yeah.
normal.
Right.
And they still have really old systems. So I think that's pretty
What are the kids doing on AOL these days, Leo? Is that still a thing?
Oh, I get calls from people. When AOL changed their, they were bought, and I don't know, it was a mess. I got so many calls from people saying, my AOL mail isn't working anymore. It's why do you still have AOL mail?
Yeah.
But
I
that's
get a
normal.
lot of Hotmail people still. I do. I get people saying, like, I'm on Hotmail. Do I need to go to Outlook? And I'm like,
Well, they are on Outlook. They just.
I'm like, you're basically on the back end of Outlook, even though it says Hotmail.
Yep.
So don't worry, you're fine.
Hey, my primary Microsoft account is a hotmail.com account.
Yeah.